Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is Thursday night. I normally don't appear on Thursday night, but here I am. So yeah, I'll be doing a double shift now, Thursday and Friday. But yeah, I'm stepping in tonight to do the hosting duty because obviously T.N.F had a wee bit of a rebrand recently. The Judge Versus series is going on, and I don't know, Mark, if I like this Versus part. It kind of denotes that we're going to have a bit of a scrap here, and I don't know, man. I'm kind of the level-headed guy around here, so hopefully it doesn't turn into anything like a Barbie, but I'm happy to be on regardless. You know, I'm quite eager to go on and talk about last night's action, which will obviously be one of the main talking points. But yeah, regardless, it's still T.N.F. So obviously, folks, it's all about your points. So just make sure during the show when we need it, get your points in during it. We'll also put it to the judge and he can have his say on it. But of course, Mark, how you doing, mate? First and foremost.
I'm doing very well, mate. Disclaimer, I didn't watch the game last night. I found out the score at 3 a.m. I woke up.
Wow.
The back of 3, I woke up when I put the heat on, so I checked my phone. I was happy with the score, but I didn't watch any. I was just, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I should do that in the future. Just ignore the games.
Just ignore it.
And then hopefully get a few results. Maybe I'm a jinx.
Well, maybe we'll find it though. Have you seen the goals at least? Have you seen them?
So obviously I had to go on the pod, so I watched. It was like 5 minutes highlights on YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
I watched that. So
yeah.
So I'll probably try my best to give some sort of summary, but
well, it's more like a European campaign in general, something we enjoy talking about.
I'll flag it. I always do flag it anyway.
Fair dues, mate. Fair dues. But before, of course, we go any further, of course, so just remember to do all that good stuff that helps the channel out massively. Hit that like button. I don't know if Mark raises his thumb, will we get an actual animation on the screen like that? Yes, there it is. There it is. Wow, amazing. All the mod cons here on the Boise bus. There you go. But yes, obviously hit that like button. Helps us massively in the old algorithm. Obviously get involved in our comments tonight. And of course, I'll be asking as well. Remember to put hashtag T.N.F at the start of your comments because it helps me out massively when I'm hosting T.N.F because it's very easy to miss questions. So obviously remember to do that at some point tonight. Of course, share the link of the Boise Bus far and wide on social media. And of course, if you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification. You'll be reminded when the bus goes on the road. And of course, head over to plysports.com and use the code BUS1888. I'm trying to do a straight face after the fireworks, honestly. That was ridiculous, that episode a few weeks ago.
But I don't know what happened. I'm still not entirely sure. There must be...
Somebody do your camera. Somebody in the comments said somebody do an Apple Mac camera or something like that, or like an iPhone camera or something like that. Somebody do Apple anyway.
Someone says because I'm using the Mac, but
right.
To be quite honest with you, there must be more things that I don't know about because I want to know all the hand gestures. You know, I mean, there must be a few dodgy lines. I don't want to turn into Pfizer though.
Don't want to get us cancelled, mate. Careful with that one.
Well, this is that. I mean, I've been trying my best for 2 years to get the place to get the bus cancelled. It's not worked yet, is it? So.
Not up to now, no, it hasn't. And yeah, what I was going to say, yeah, Bus 1888, get your discount on your pies over at piesports.com, 12.5% off. And yeah, with all that said and done, I will remember to put this on the screen as well, as I always like to do when I'm hosting T.N.F. So remember to do that at the start of your comments, folks. So it makes it easier for me to see it. But yeah, Mark, obviously the game last night, as you said, you haven't watched the game in full. I've seen it anyway, but you've seen the goals and you've got the gist of it and the result. So it's more a case of the general sort of overarching performance of the whole European campaign. Is it fair to say that we deserved more out of that group?
I think so. I think they could have beat Lazio at home. I think that's fair. I don't think it's a stretch of the imagination that we could have got 3 points against Lazio. I think we were maybe guys in my head as boot away if you're getting the 3 points. I think if we scored that goal in the 90th minute, I don't think Lazio scored the winner.
Yep.
So that's 3 more points straight away. And I also feel like we were just a bit naive in the final away match. If we just go to half time, you never know. We could have got a draw there at minimum. I didn't think Feyenoord in the first leg were great shakes. I'm not going to lie to you, Phil. I thought the Atletico Madrid game, I think I have heard Roger saying we could have got 9 points. Thanks, Pam. But I think the Atletico Madrid game, I think if we take away the fact that I'm suggesting we could have got 3 points against Lazio, you've got to, in the same breath, kind of concede that if Madrid had took their chances, it could have been a Madrid 3 points as well. You know what I mean? So I think the draw against Madrid was probably fair, but I think 7 points would have been a decent return for Celtic. It could have given us third place anyway. I did we get 4 points in this group, and I was right. But you know something? As much as we've took a bit of a slagging off of everybody that wants to slag Celtic, but
Well, this is new.
bad, including myself, mate. But I don't think the performances have been that bad. I thought the first game was just be by naivety. The Atletico Madrid, I'd probably say the Atletico Madrid game. And don't forget, we were down to 10 men. It was probably the only game we've been outclassed. I don't think we've been looked outclassed or outfought or just on the rang field against anybody except Atletico Madrid. And again, as I say, that was with 10 men. So, but I don't want that to be some sort of vindication for the board's decision not to back the team. I think
totally.
I think we should be using that as a springboard to say, look, that wee 10% better player would have gave us a chance to progress into the last 16 or even Europa League. But do you know what? That is what it is. I've conceded Europe a long time ago, Phil, as you know. But for the guys who, I'm just pissed off for the guys who are travelling.
Yeah, of course.
And a lot of them are giving up their family holidays for that year, Phil. It's a lot of money. See if they're going to away games. You're talking in the thousands of pounds there, mate. You know what I mean? And a lot of folk are maybe giving up their wee week in Tenerife instead. You know what I mean? Or maybe sacrificing their annual leave for other reasons. You know what I mean? So good on them. They deserve better than what the club's giving them now. I think the guys that went to the last away game, the Lazio, they should all get their money back. I mean, every one of them booked that. It's like I said before. I don't know how the European the Champions League works for most clubs, but maybe Celtic and Rangers, they're probably the only two teams that sell a free match package, because Celtic know that if granted the second and third game, if they're already out, they're selling 30,000-40,000 tickets there. They know that. It's like they're wanting you to invest for the very beginning because they know they won't invest for the very beginning, and the chances are they're going to be out their arse by match day 4 as I think which was the case this season. But the negatives are that they don't need spelled out to you, they're already there. But the positive is we've put that 10-year hoodoo behind us. I think we have. I don't think we've found anything about I think the players, we know they're not good enough, so no point going down that road. But another positive, if you want to be a bit balanced about it, is that's a reset button now. That's been pressed. Name a monkey on the back about Brendan Rodgers no one in Europe, and name a Scottish press ram it down their throat with no one in 10 years. It's an exaggerated stat. You probably find it's maybe 12 games or something, 12, 14 games. It's 12, 14 games, whatever it is, far too much, in my opinion, Phil. But it's it doesn't equate to 10 years of football. It's a couple of
we were in the Champions League every single year.
And see if you actually look at the pot 1 and pot 2 teams we've had in most of those campaigns, it's no surprise we've not beaten Bayern Munich and Man City and Barcelona and Real Madrid. I mean, nobody can be surprised with that. But I think there's a lot of the sobering part is we should be beating teams like Feyenoord fairly often, teams like Leipzig and things like I don't know where we played them, but
last season under Ange we played Leipzig.
Boys, Phil, we've seen Rangers beat them home and away, etc. So there's no like we can't. We're not supposed to be the same playing field as this mob. We've got the ability and probably the resources to be competing at a certain level. But we didn't do it. We'll press the reset button now and let's just focus on the league in terms of the campaign and Scottish Cup perhaps. But I think the real work starts now, Phil, because the £60 million jackpot in Rangers' hands is far more devastating than it would be in our hands, because £60 million in their pockets that they won't spend won't derail their season as much as £60 million in Rangers' back pockets, because they would go all in. I mean, they would clear their debts. They would be parity financially, and they would just, I think they would become back to the days when they could compete with us for players and all the rest of it. So it's a lot riding on this league. It's not just a case of getting in the Champions League. This is a jackpot season for, and unless I'm mistaken, I think it's probably the last season for at least 3 or 4 years where it's going to be automatic qualification. So if Celtic want to guarantee themselves as much as possible another crack at it next season, Phil, then the work starts on January the 1st, and I'm sure we'll get into that.
Oh yes, that'll definitely happen. Because one of the points I wanted to bring up before I go to the viewer ones, because I've got a couple of viewer ones highlighted already that are going to tie into what we're talking about. But a point that a narrative now, it's not every fan out there, but there is a contingent in Twitter. When you dig deep enough, you can see them here and there, little pockets of them. And a word that's been used, or a term that's been used a few times on here, we talk about comfort blankets. Things that people use to say, "I but." Oh, this, but, and so one thing that I noticed is a few fans were pointing out how we performed in the last this season of Champions League, where again, I think we could have competed in that group. I know, regardless of the lack of investment and whatnot, but looking at the way the group panned out, it's kind of one of those what ifs, what could have been, shoulda, woulda, coulda. And people are pointing out about, well, I mean, spending money isn't the answer. I mean, look, Manchester United finished bottom of their group. But the bigger picture there is not the fact that Man U finished bottom of the group, it's who finished above them, Mark. FC Copenhagen and Galatasaray finished above them. If Man United were in, say, Newcastle's group and finished bottom in a group with PSG, Dortmund and AC Milan, which is a really tough group, but Man U were in a group there. So to me, the bigger picture is that it's not a case that you could just go, I mean, a team like Man U finished bottom of their group. No. Look at the two teams that finished above them, Copenhagen and Galatasaray. I know there's a lot of money in Turkish football, or a lot more money in Scottish football anyway, compared to that, But Galatasaray still aren't like this huge, massive team, much higher than us. I mean, a few years back, remember we played Fenerbahce in the Europa League, who, of course, are on a similar ilk to Galatasaray. I mean, then you look at a place, because that was a Ronnie Dyler Celtic team as well. We drew with them twice, home and away. Aye, and it's like, so when you're seeing teams like that do well, again, it just adds to see if we just got our house in order, what we could have done, what we could have done in that group. I think it was definitely there. I mean, third place was definitely not out of the bargain, because Feyenoord, they weren't a top team. Just the way the seasons work with UEFA, the top 8 ranked leagues, so it's like the Champions League holder, the Europa League holder, and then the top 6 leagues and their rankings get the pot 1 seedings. And Feyenoord, the Dutch league happens to be deemed in the top 6 in Europe, so therefore Feyenoord automatically a pot 1. But they're not a pot 1 team. And so I think last night, and I think as you rightly said, in the first leg, they weren't any great shakes. They weren't amazing. It was just 2 moments of madness from us, getting 2 men sent off in about, a 4-minute spell that just kind of cost us there. But yeah, when you see things like that, and you see some fans out there going, again, it's like that thing, like the board love fans like these ones who are going, yeah, but I mean, we don't need, if we spend all that money, that could happen to us, we might still finish bottom. And it's like, no, it's about spending it wisely. And I think I've said that a few times on the pod now. I'm not even screaming out for us to spend loads and loads of cash. It's we need to get better at spending it on certain things, because the scouting seems to be the biggest issue for me, Mark. Where are the Victor Wanyama's and Berham Kyles, all these players that we'd never heard of before that we were buying for 1 million, 2 million quid that did come in and did improve us? Somewhere in the last 10 years, that's fell off a cliff. Last night, I think Russell and Terry made a great point about Matt O'Reilly, where he is a guy that the board will be looking at and going, see, it works. The system still works. And it's like, but that's one and how many now? So it's like, where our scouting seems to be all over the place. So again, it's one of those, what could have been if we just spent the money a bit more wisely in the summer window, and who knows where we could be tonight.
I think they look at football like it's some sort of football manager's game where they can just put in 3 or 4 youth players and project players into a team that's already winning. It'll just even sell out eventually. I think it works that way, Phil. They've got to have a baseline ability and baseline experience to play for Celtic. See, playing for Celtic, a lot of players that have played 100 games in the English Premier League can't handle playing for Celtic and the pressure. We saw Nat Phillips last week. I mean, I would rather see Nat Fraser genuinely play for Celtic than Nat Phillips. So we can see the data players, mate. So we need players that have played, and then you can't just fling in Waynes and guys. So there is the board's rationale, I think, would work, but no as a strategy, Phil.
Yeah.
These guys need to be few and far between. The thing about 10 years ago in the new is teams that have started in the last maybe 10, 12 years, they've started to expand their clubs. There's like feeder clubs for every club's get feeder clubs, and the feeder clubs are buying players left, right, and centre for 2, 3, 4 million, and they're just farming them out of the place. So these guys are getting swallowed up by the system. See, 10 years ago, you maybe only had a couple of teams around the world that were doing that. Now you got Red Bull with the part of this bloody franchise, and you got Man City with 4 or 5 teams. You know what I'm saying? There's Chelsea have got a team in Belgium, and so that's what happens. A lot of these players are getting swallowed up by that system, and the surprising is that Celtic can still find a few gems. I think the gems that Ange Postecoglou found, I think he drained that well in Asia. Do you know that? I think your Kyogo, Natati, Maeda, to a certain extent, they were probably the best of a bad litter. Let's be honest, and they've come in and have excelled in Scotland. I mean, I'm sure I read or I heard that Indiguchi won Player of the Year in Japan the other day.
I heard he's been playing well, actually. I've heard that story as well, that he's been doing all right.
So if that's your level of quality in that league, we'll leave that there. But I don't know, like, so that kind of explains where in my opinion, where the wee gems are going to. They're going to these group teams, you know what I mean? Teams that are clubs that are maybe part of a bigger
a network,
a bigger web sort of thing, and they're getting swallowed up, you know what I mean? And they go into obscurity because maybe they got into a team too early and they don't fit into their system, then they just fall into the fucking hyperspace that is football, you know what I mean? But I think Celtic are, this is the acid test for the club. It was summertime for me, but now this is the end of the road for them in January, because there will be no escaping the criticism if we don't. Brendan Rodgers said a few weeks ago he told the club he needs 4 players, and he still needs 4 players. That tells me that they've not addressed any of the players that he's wanted, you know what I mean? I think the players that brought in, I think it's fair to say by his comments that they were all Ange or at least the club signings. So you can, what that tells you is they've no took Celtic getting to the next level seriously. They thought they could just plod on. He'd come in and just turn this team into something better, or at least keep the wheels rolling. But they lost Jota and they lost Starfelt, and for some reason that derailed us. I don't think, thinking back, we were talking pre-season about Celtic getting a higher calibre player than Starfelt. Now we're begging for a player like that back. Just shows you how far we fell off the cliff. And I'll give you another stat here, Phil. And you can count it in your head to make sure I'm right. But for me, I've been watching Celtic since the very early 90s. As a wee boy, I've always loved Celtic, you know what I mean? And listening to them to the radio and everything. And I got to school and watching the few Rangers fans that I knew in school slagging me all the way through 9 and all the rest of it. But I'd probably say the worst season that I've had to endure was the COVID season. That for me, it was difficult for me not to be at the games, not to see Celtic, and to watch what was unfolding in front of my eyes. And that should never be repeated. For we'd 7 of that team in last night's team. We had Bain, McGregor, Greg Taylor, Stephen Welsh, Turnbull, Forrest, and Mikey Johnston. And only 2 of them didn't feature last night. So that, you know what I mean? And I think if Turnbull, who always finishes Celtic matches, you know, Turnbull's always a sub. If he was going to be gone in January, which I think he will be, he'll be on the park as well, probably. I didn't see the game, but you'd imagine. So barring Scott Bain, 6 of the 11 players on that park could have been the worst season in my memory, Phil. And if I was to tell you that in the day we won the treble last season, you'd think that's fucking bonkers, wouldn't you? You would think I was bonkers that we ended up in the Champions League with Scales and Lagerbielka and Greg Taylor. You know what I mean? And we went to a Champions League campaign, and our most expensive left back we've ever bought wasn't in the squad. Wasn't included in the squad because he wasn't good enough. We've not got our £5 million centre back, Naroki. I think he's back to his old club. He wasn't included in the squad through injury.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's not eligible to play in Europe.
Tallio cost £2.5 million, whatever it is, and it was billed as the next big hope for Australasia, whatever you call it. He's into December. He's not made an appearance for us yet, really. I mean, a couple of minutes, and the season just fell off a cliff. And I'll give you another COVID stat. We've dropped 9 points this season, right? See, the only difference between this season and the COVID season is Rangers didn't drop 1 point at this stage.
Yeah.
If they'd played us and beat us as they did in that season, or even if you discount that game, they'd be between 9 and 12 points ahead of us just now. And they had 2 games in hand at this point. If we'd be 2 games in hand, they had 2 games in us. So we could quite feasibly be 18 points behind them. So this is an 11 season in terms of points, but the only difference is Rangers won me
more points
as they won then. So there's a lot of similarities between this season and that season, and when you've got 7 of the 11 players in a Champions League squad for a game last night, and don't kid yourself into thinking that they were only there because it was the last game dead rubber. Everybody that was in that team would have been in that team regardless. You know what I mean? I think Welsh had to be in the team because of Nat Phillips.
Nat Phillips couldn't play last night after the weekend.
I don't care if Bucky Thistle was in more, you still don't play him. So your Greg Taylors is your Welshies, and if you even want to include Ralston was probably back at Celtic that season, so you could probably say 8 was in the squad.
Ralston was in the team that season. Yeah,
that's 8 of the possible 15 last night or 16 last night were COVID 11 players. You know what I mean? And just think about that. And this is what I said this on Twitter last night or this morning, and a certain guy, I don't even know his name yet, I took it the wrong way, but I'll try and explain it better on the pod. I'm always thinking that the board, I always think the worst of the board. See, the board, they don't, I don't owe the board any grace.
Yep.
So my thinking is last night, in their mind, when they're having their champagne after the match, they're sitting in a wee circle saying to each other, do you know what? Tonight's result was vindication for us telling the fans on the AGM that we're a Champions League team. And do you know something, mate? I can see that conversation taking place for the arseholes. And in the same conversation, I can see Lager Bielka being the great white hope. I can see conversations stating that that young boy that came on the last half an hour or whatever it was, he was going to be the next big thing. We don't need to spend that much in January. I can see these conversations taking place. Yeah. And in my mind, before the match, I said, just the bigger picture, knowing the board, a win for Celtic wouldn't have been necessarily the best thing in terms of the fans overall, you know what I mean, in terms of the bigger picture. Sometimes like a win can disguise a lot of fucking frailties. And I think I could be overthinking it, Phil, but I think Rodgers came out. I listened to Rodgers' presser and all, and he was saying he mentioned the word quality about 10 times. And
that has been his word of the month. 2 months.
Qualities. And the thing is, Phil, knew it's obvious that man's no sitting back, and he's saying, he's telling the fans, I'm begging for the players here. So now's the time for the board to act, and he's no shrunk away for it. I think the last couple of weeks has been a really tough time for him as a manager. I think the St. John's, the Kilmarnock game last week, I said on the podcast, on the chat, I says, I've opened this advent calendar of excuses this season. I said, there's Peter Lawwell, there's Mark Lawwell. Eventually, the doors open up and there's the manager's face.
Brendan Rodgers,
Eventually, you've got to cover that window, and I think that's when Sunday that I went full focus on the manager, because I started to stop pretending to myself that you've got Chris Sutton, John Hartson, players coming out and saying that you can't keep criticising the players. Some things, and I'm all for managers coming out and saying, you're shite, fine. But it's not having the effect that I wanted to have on the players. And you don't want to lose the dressing room, and you could end up going down that road. But I don't think it has. You know, I mean, I just think sometimes I think to myself, maybe it has, but maybe I'm over exaggerating mine. The way you do overthink things, but I'm just scared to see Celtic go down to this road where they're going to start chopping and changing managers, because Brendan Rodgers could walk if things don't change, and see a third manager in 12 months.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
It doesn't, and then what happens is it's a rebuild again, and you've got players coming in, no fit the system. We've already saw players falling off a cliff this season with systems changing. So I don't want to say it. I'm not saying to suggest anything like that. I'm just saying I hope last night's result isn't a vindication for the board's idiotic transfer policy. That's all, mate.
I think you're right to be concerned because, again, there's precedent with this board. I'm already... I've said a few times on the pod in the last few weeks heading towards January here where we can all see it. We can all see that we need investment, but I don't even know where to begin guessing what they're going to do. So it's one of these, we just need to play it by ear.
Was there a left back mentioned tonight, Phil?
Was a left back mentioned tonight?
I think, did I see in the chat? Was
one of the comments came up saying if we had a good left back, we would have done a lot better in Europe. And if Mitchell Frame came on last night, who is a B team player, the much maligned B team, who, as you always say, can't even beat civil service strollers. But when this boy did sign a contract extension, which is a bit of a rarity for the B team players, Celtic's actual Twitter account was actually promoting this, Mitchell Frame signs a contract extension, like a B team player. I don't know if it's a case of because we've lost so many in recent years, they were just so chuffed to say, look, one actually staying on. He's not going to go away to some other club. Look, we've actually managed to keep on. But I thought he came on last night and he looked pretty lively. Okay, yeah, it's only just his first appearance and you can't get too far ahead of yourself. But see within the first minute of him coming on, he zipped a great ball in from the left-hand side, a low cross right across the face of the goal. And it was one of those ones, see if somebody was just there to tap it in. And there was a brilliant moment where they were on the counter-attack and he tracked back really well and sort of muscled the guy off the ball to win it. And then the ball just kind of broke and bounced off James Forrest and final to get the ball back on. It was either a free kick or something. But the boy did really well to recover it. And then, we kind of then basically gave a foul. Well, we basically gave the ball right back to him because it just bounced off of James Forrest, essentially, because he was too close to him. But he was pretty lively when he came on. So
that's what you miss Abada, I suppose. The ball's coming for the left, overhit. Normally Abada's on the end of him. He's quite good at timing a run. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm looking forward to seeing Maeda and Abada back. But in all fairness to the team, it's a back four that's chopped and changed. So when Carter Vickers is back and we find a partner for him and maybe somebody going to come in, I think the biggest problem this season hasn't been the defence. I think it's been the fullbacks. I think if you've been totally honest with yourself, I think right back and left back has been a real issue for the club. I also think midfield, if you get Hatate back on form, you start to see the best of Cal McGregor and Matt Riley. So there is encouraging signs, and I think Maeda was out of form before he got injured, and so was Abada. Let's be honest here. Maybe Kyogo's missing that burst of pace for the wing and that 40-yard overhit pass for Maeda. Maybe he's missing that because there's certainly something right. But I tell you something, which is I found about this when I was walking down the road and I was listening to last night's Sports Sound podcast. There must be doubts in the Japan manager's mind whether he would call up Kyogo, which could be a good thing for us come January.
Yeah, his form is bad
he's right now. Since Pancake Tuesday, mate. So you might find that he says to himself, "Do you know what? Fuck it, there's other players out there," because he's not been a regular for Japan ever. So and he's now 29. That's so he's not like he's played 50 games and he's just a shoe in. He's only played a handful of games, maybe a bit more than that, and he's not scored many. So best case scenario, he doesn't get called up, and we've got a striker because I'm sorry, but I've tried to go on the bandwagon. I've tried to like him. I think it was David Logue. I think it was David Logue. No, but it was Mark on. I done a Spaces last week, and Mark on the Spaces was saying to me that if you had like say your O and your Turbo, etc., playing for other teams within the SPFL, would they stand out as class act quality players? And I thought to myself, would O stand out in an Aberdeen team like Miovski has? Probably no, Phil. So I don't think you stand out in a Celtic team playing against that level of opposition. And the fact of the matter is, when you come to Celtic, you're playing for the very, very best in the league. So when you're playing against the very, very best, that's when you find out what players are like. And I don't think anybody within the league is shone against us this season. So not in my memory anyway. So and I don't think O would come in and...
Well, I'll tell you this, Mark. Last night, O was denied a fucking great goal.
Was it?
Because, yes, 50-50, two players going for the same ball, and he out-muscles the guy. but he graces against him and the ball goes down and the referee gives a free kick right away. But O just basically carries on and puts the ball in the net brilliantly. But of course, the referee pulled it back for a free kick. Shocking decision. Russell and Terry even highlighted it last night in the PMP. He was denied. And yeah, I've watched the same highlights video that you have as well. So I wanted to see the goals again. And yeah, they didn't include that bit. But yeah, it was a ridiculous decision for the referee. But we find out with European referees, they are very footery when it comes to like wee niggly fouls, just be a free kick. They stop the play quite a lot. And yeah, it was one of them.
Goal last week at Celtic Park against somebody. 1-3-1 or 4-1.
4-1, it was the Hibs game.
Hibs game, and it was. And I thought to myself when the squad that I win, he's got to pull it back, and he never did. Was it similar to that?
Well, it was more like contact with the feet, but even that, there wasn't much in it. It looked like two players just going for a 50-50 ball, and he happened to come out with it. And yeah, referee pulled it back, and his cool daddy said O's goal should have stood. And I totally agree. But let's get into some comments that have came in, because a few, as I say, put hashtag T.N.F at the start, and I've got a better chance of seeing it. Don't be fooled by the fact that I wear glasses. It's very easy for me to miss these comments. So, Marc Cairney, if that's how you say it, Cairney, I'm about overemphasising it a wee bit, Cairney. He says, very happy with the win, but already sick of fearing if only we'd beaten Lazio. I think we started the show with pushing that one. Sorry, Mark. Sorry. We didn't stay focused on the board and the lack of investment in the squad. Yep, well, on this channel, Russell, I think, signs off every show now. We keep your eyes on the board. I think he does it on every show now. But let's expand on Mark's point there, just again, with the investment or what we need to do. Where is the priority? What is the biggest priority right now, Mark? I know there's, you could take your pick essentially right now in the starting 11 where the biggest priority is, but is there a one that you can home in on right now and say, first day of January, this is what we need to see announced?
A left back.
Left back.
Goalkeeper, you can forget the goalkeeper. That's staying until summertime. I think a left back. Our two biggest problems is we're conceding goals and we're not scoring enough goals. So we need creativity and we need to stop this. And our fullbacks aren't creating nothing either. So we need somebody who's going to be doing the job that our fullbacks normally do. So I'd say a left back, and also somebody more creative up front. I don't think Kyogo is a spin on the shoulder guy. He didn't get the ball 40 yards to go and take 2-3 men on and ping one in. I've not seen him score a goal like that yet. So we need to create more opportunities for him. Either that or don't play him. I don't think you can afford not to play him.
No, that's so fair. I'm thinking a striker's definitely one, because I think it's entirely different thing with it. Although the point you make is very valid about, will Kyogo even get called up to the Asian Cup? Because we're obviously panicking about lack of striker availability on January the 1st. We play St Mirren on January the 3rd in Paisley at St Mirren's ground. So it's like, it's one of these games that I just feel like you can't just look at it and go, it's only St Mirren, we'll be fine without a striker. No, I think we do need to have a striker. And if O and Kyogo both get called up, we don't have an out-and-out striker. But yeah, will Kyogo even be called up? I don't know. When he was scoring loads of goals for us, he wasn't getting called up and we're scratching our heads. So I don't know. Maybe he will be available, but even at that, he's obviously, it was still that fear around Kyogo when he goes down. You're like, oh no, is he going to be out long term here? So we definitely need more options in the striker department. But left back, I certainly agree with. That one has been glaringly obvious. And of course, our very own Liam Greenlaw, the Punk Duck Warlord, has been shouting it since last season. He kept going on about Greg Taylor, saying, look, telling you, Greg Taylor, it's a problem. A lot of people are like, no, don't, you're too harsh on Greg Taylor, because under Ange, yeah, he was playing well. But Liam, the wise man of the buses, I always call him on a Friday night, he saw it coming. He was like, no, I'm telling you, Greg Taylor, he's a danger.
Big Liam, I love listening to that guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's watched Celtic for 30, 40, 50 years probably, and he knows what he's talking about. Same with John Locke, to talk really well about Celtic. And don't forget, he's also mentioned Arthur Johnson. You see, look, he's levelled out. He saw him play in Canada. I saw him play for Canada, and he saw him play for the American team. But he said this is more normal for Arthur Johnson than his purple patch last season. And I think we are beginning to see. I think he has become a wee bit an issue, Phil. I thought he was outstanding against Hibs. I thought it was his best game in a long time for Celtic. He was getting into spaces. He was in the box constantly. It was a bit like Greg Taylor was under Ange, you know what I mean? But I think if you're being honest with yourself, I think he's playing under the his performances for last season. He's not really done anything for me this year, and I think Liam called that one spot on as well.
He did, mate. Let's see, have another look at what's came in. Another one from, in fact, we'll go to Thomas Burns one here, and again, still in January, we just couldn't get the deal over the line. January's a hard one to go, well, we can see it coming, Thomas. You're calling it, mate. You're basically predicting the future. You're looking at the crystal ball, and yeah, that is the worst case scenario. And again, we've lived this chapter before, Mark, where we're prepared for it. As I said earlier on, we can all see that we need the investment. We need to freshen this team up right now. And I just don't know what they're going to do. I'd like to think there is a plan in place. I'd like to think what Brendan Rodgers is essentially doing in front of the cameras right now is basically giving us a few hints. But he is from time to time putting in those wee Peter Lawwell style caveats. He has mentioned some things like, we need quality and 4 players and stuff. But if they're available, and things like, when this guy's back, he'll be like a new signing, these types of lines. So
we all know the club can only buy them if they're available. You don't need to put that in there. It just puts more doubt in your head. We all know we can't just buy a player who's not available. We all know that, but it's when it's actually said out loud, you go, oh fuck, he's flinging caveats in there. I don't think anybody's going to be fooled this January. I'm going to be honest with you. I think anybody again is going to get into this window thinking the club's going to go both barrels, is going to end up with egg in their face. I really do. I just don't see it. I don't see the motivation for the club. Probably the best thing that will push Celtic is how close the league is now. I think if we were 10 or 11 points clear now. But in the same breath, I think Rangers are only 2 points behind us. They've got a game against us in December 30th. See if they're above us or they're touching distance, they will spend money they've no got. Don't you think for the money they won't? Because there's a £60 million jackpot. They need that money, as John Dal Thompson says. Do you not think they will go for it? They will spend 10-15 million to go for it, because they go for broke all the time. They spent 30-40 million trying to get out of the Championship and second division in Scotland. Do you think they're going to do that to try and get to a £60 million Champions League jackpot with 8 games getting sold out and 4 home matches and the revenue it brings in? They would do it in a second and do something. If they're sitting and they're being honest with themselves, it's a reasonable gamble. It's a 50-50 gamble. Spend 15, it takes 15 or 20 to bank 60. They would do it in a minute. They would gamble that. Whereas we want to spend 6 million to bank 100, and that's the fucking truth of the matter.
As something that's crossed my mind recently, where I was like, if we were sitting a double figures lead in January, we probably wouldn't push the boat out in any way. But I think if they're breathing down our necks, which is unfortunately it might be the case, it's like we shouldn't be reactive though. We should always be proactive. It's like, how many times do we need to say it? It's like, it's not difficult, but it just feels like this board just keep repeating themselves.
The chance under Anil's team was a good Rangers team, don't get me wrong, but Anil's team was so far above even a lot of teams in England at that time that they could have just whitewashed Rangers altogether. They chose not to and let Rangers win a treble. Gordon Strachan's team were heading for 4 in a row, needed a bit of investment just to totally get the horizon. Didn't happen. I thought when Neil Lennon had the team, they didn't back him, they lost him, and Dyler was like a caretaker, and then Rodgers, we don't know what happened there with him, and the same thing happened with him, and we've had all these chances to just blow this league apart, and you know, I'm always just scared that this. There's a cycle in football where Rangers have it and us we have it. I want our cycle to last for as long as possible, and I'm always just scared that we get up prematurely. But you need to go back to the 1950s for there to be a decade that Celtic have that have won less titles than Rangers apart from the 90s. There's only been one decade in the last since the 1950s that the Celtic have lost less titles than Rangers. And I'm sure you'd have to be in your late 90s to have watched Rangers win their trophies in Celtic. So Celtic have, for the last 80, 90 years, have been the dominant team, really. But I want to keep it going, Phil. You all saw the fireworks during the COVID season. It'd be 10 times worse than that if they won it with fans there. I don't want to see that for as long as possible. So let's just fucking bury these cunts. I mean, just don't give them a chance. Phil, because They would storm their throats and they would squash it as hard as possible. We give them a kiss of life, and that's the difference.
Yeah, it's worrying. It's like it's so obvious to all of us what needs to be done, but yeah, we've been in this position before. There was banners years ago. Remember the "Don't fall asleep at the wheel" one? Remember that? Yeah, those. So yeah, the warning signs have always been there. We've always been aware of it, and yeah, some people in the comments are saying, don't get yourselves too excited. Like this one here, don't kid yourself, lads are bored. Don't give a monkeys about investing. Don't set yourself up for disappointment. No, totally we're aware of it. We're acutely aware of it as well on the bus. Quick segue as well, Mark, just a little side story as well this week. And I thought, well, there's quite a few referees that fall into this category. Bobby 1962 said about the referee last night. Was it the referee that the Turkish club president punched? Did you see that moment of madness?
I think I thought,
wow.
Listen, I wish see if Wobble would go up off his fat ass, walk down the stairs and crack John Beaton. All's forgiven in my mind.
That's it.
That's all we want is do you know something? We can't even get a captain to talk to a referee in our mind.
You've said that before, aye. Yeah.
I mean, I seen a video years back, some Saudi club, and they're running about with slippers chasing the referee. I want to see a bit of that. I want to see the gates of Celtic Park swing open and the referee to be run down London Road in fear. Because, as I said before, like 2 weeks ago or last week, we are facing... we don't face 11 clubs in Scotland. We face 11 clubs and a group of referees, an SFA that were born to and staunch Protestantism and they hate everything Celtic stand for. It would take more than Celtic to get rid of that. We just stand for everything they hate. So we need to stand up for ourselves. I don't think our board did it. I don't think our captain did it. Jock Stein used to tell his players to put as much pressure on the referees always as they possibly could, because you're playing 12 men when you play for Celtic, and I feel like we lie down and get our belly tickled quite a lot. And I said before about our players helping other players up and all the rest of it. I think sportsmanship's been long gone out of the game now. I think there's dark arts and nastiness all over the place, and Celtic either become party or they become victims, and I think Celtic are victims. I was at a game maybe a month ago, maybe with me on that, and their right back kicked the ball. They kicked the ball into the main stand. It's clear as fucking day. The referee gave a throw into the other team, and Callum McGregor walked by him. And I'm the Jock Stein stand, and I'm fucking screaming like a banshee. My leg, I've tied my shoelaces to the top to the tap tier. So that's how angry I was. And I thought, McGregor, you should be at least putting a doubt in that referee's mind that he can't just do that. And even the last game, it was the last home game.
The Hibs one, wasn't it? The midweek game.
Oh, was it not? Oh, I thought it was
we played last Wednesday. We played Hibs midweek.
It was a Motherwell game then, with a bad result. Celtic won a throw in down at the corner flag, and the linesman sure as they went like that and pointed to the other way, and it was like the boys just ran in and just clapped the ball out of the park. I thought, this is right in front of the linesman's face, and I'm saying to myself, small margins, and I'm greeting for no reason, but you can't allow that cheating to be going on, you know what I mean? And even if it's no cheating, even if it's the worst case scenario, they're just that incompetent, they can't see who kicked the ball to the park. Put doubt in their mind, Phil. Put doubt in their mind. You know what I mean? Martin Neal was a fucking very animated figure. The referees respected and feared him when he was on the sidelines. He spoke to referees. I think his captains did. Neil Lennon and Paul Lambert weren't shy. I don't think Scott Brown was shy. Talking to referees. And you look at Rangers, if you get a Rangers tap on, you don't need to argue with the referee because you're going to get 9 out of 10 decisions anyway. Celtic need to fight for the 1 out of 10. So fight for it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like when I talk about Callum McGregor, I think he's lacking in a few areas. I think his football ability this season's questionable, but there's no doubt in the guy's quality. He's a fantastic football player. He's a great season for Celtic. I think it goes missing in the big games in Europe, Phil, I'm not going to lie. But I think that's just because we're up levels that he can't, or he's not used to yet. But I think his biggest problem is if you can't motivate the players on the park when it's looking down, you've got to at least put pressure on the referee. You can't just allow the dark arts. And we're watching games and you're spending 15 minutes watching the Motherwell keeper bounce the ball and dive.
Yeah, that's infuriating, that. Yep.
And the referee facilitates it. The referee allows it, right? So we know he's going to allow that. He's their 12th man.
Yep.
You've got to be in the face every single time in his face,
Yep.
point to let the fans know you're. And the fans are screaming for the stands for McGregor to be saying things, and nobody's doing it for. And I think that's part of your job as a captain. You've got to fucking put pressure on these guys, especially at Celtic Park, because at Celtic Park the referees need to find a leveler, and they'll use every single trick in that Mason's handbook to give Celtic a hard time. And we've seen it for years. It's not going to get any better. The only thing that they can get better is us reacting to it. But that starts with the captain moaning and shouting at the referee, in my opinion.
Aye, no, that's all fair point. I see a lot of things you've said about McGregor so far this season. Definitely, some things that you could definitely do as a captain. But just a quick fun on the Turkish one. I don't know if you heard the follow up to it. That apparently he's came out and said, "I only went on with the intention of spitting in the referee's face." Aye, because that makes it better. Aye, nice one, mate. I know that was genuinely his justification for it. I only went on with the intention of spitting on his face and end up punching him.
His intentions were clear. He just thought, I'm going for it. I'm going full crack.
And to the people in the chat, because I'm a little bit, this is just a bit out of my age range because I'm 38 and I just missed it, but I believe the 1982 World Cup, I believe the president of a country, I think it was Kuwait, when at the World Cup came on and confronted a referee after a game. I believe they got beat by France. And I think it was one of the countries for the Middle East. I think it was Kuwait. In my head, like I've seen the clip before, but yeah, they lose to France, and the president of the country, not the president of the football association, not like the manager, none of that. No. The actual president of the country came on and confronted the referee. Didn't punch him or didn't spit in his face, but yeah, he did actually. So I think it was the 1982 World Cup, and I think it was Kuwait.
Look at the Colombian defender. He gets shot. They killed him.
Escobar, yeah. It was Andres Escobar. Yeah.
Got the wrong goal, didn't he?
Well, we'll move on to another comment from Marc Cairney, who says we'll have to loan a few players out in January. Well, obviously, Brendan Rodgers has made the point about we've got a very bloated squad, and that is one of the things about people say we can't really buy until we sell. But who is going to buy? Who's going to buy a lot of these players? But we do need to definitely get them out in some capacity, loans, whatever.
I think there's a suggestion we need to sell before we can buy. I think that's a nonsense because we can afford to do both. I think we can afford to buy players without having to get rid of some. But I think we need to trim that squad. I think the cow dung in that squad now when they get a game for Aberdeen or Kilmarnock. So we need to get rid of a few. And I think just to get rid of them away from the dressing room would be good for us.
Aye, definitely. There's been guys like Kwon and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's became a joke now, like a running joke. He signs in the summer, gives it all the big licks about he's going to become the best player. And then he played half a game against Bilbao in a friendly and hasn't been seen again.
That's his problem, mate. I mean, I genuinely believe, and I said it when I said it, I said, unless he's a world-class player, he has messed up his career already at Celtic because he's told the fans, I'm too good for these and I can't wait to get away. And that didn't sit well with a club at Celtic. You know what I mean? And it turned out his voice, we've also said he's a Kwon artist, and there's no doubt about it.
Yep. Sorry to Marc Cairney that bit pronouncing his name wrong. I've been emphasising the A at the end too much because there's an extra A in the name. So I was like, Kerry? I was like, it feels like, I don't know, I just feel like Kerry to me is Kerry. So when I saw the extra A in, I was like, I have to emphasise the end of it. But I'm glad that you like the accent though. So no, cheers, Mark. But yeah, just again on some of the players going out again, guys like Mikey Johnston and that, they had the loan spell. They were loaned out with the basis of they're not going to make it. But we've just found ourselves in a position where they're back and they're playing. End of the day, we've all had our say on guys like Johnson and stuff like that,
Well, I heard Brendan Rodgers saying he's the best player that's ever come out of the academy.
No. That's the manager that worked with Kieran Tierney. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Did you hear him saying that? No,
I've not heard that one.
He said he's in fact, Sky Sports did an interview with Mikey Johnson before the game last weekend, and he mentioned it. He says he's probably the most talented player that's ever come out of the academy up here. I put the kettle on and I boiled it, and then I drank my tea just so I could spit it out.
I thought you were going to say you stuck your head in boiling water or something like that. You were that enraged about it.
Well, that was after the game.
Wow.
And that second half of that game was.
Jesus.
That's when I did my spaces after that game, and I thought myself.
I saw that.
Quite enjoyed it actually. The boy Mark, come on, he was really good. Really good. He says the first time he's ever done it, and I quite enjoyed talking to that guy. He's kind of quite articulate. Thought about Celtic. It was very good. Yeah, I'll do it again. I think.
What about if I was saying, maybe this is the case, maybe it's a bit of the old Brendan mind games working, you know what he's like psychologically, maybe he said it to try and put him in the shop window. There are any buyers that are looking in the shop window, I don't know if they've been impressed with what they've seen so far.
I have to buy in Holland, that's what I'm in the East. But listen, I'm all for bumming players up to get rid of them. I think you've got to paint the house for you, sell it, you know what I mean? But I just don't think you just let them go, let McCarthy go, let them all these kind of dumplings, just let them all go. And do you know what? I think, see if they're going to get money for them and you can't find them a club, I think you're better off just sending certain players out the door, paying them after wages with a settlement and have them.
We did it with Barcast, didn't we? We just cut our losses.
About the dressing room, moping about, you know what I mean? And I don't know if you seen, we seen the guy for about 10 years ago, maybe less than that, and he got injured in his debut, Blether, and he was saying,
Blether, of course, yes.
He the absolute cheek, the absolute gall to sit there and slag Celtic yesterday, and he was saying Celtic will be what's the word? Firewood will what's the word he used? He said, what was it he said? He didn't say they'll fuck Celtic. They'll be.
I'd like to think so. He didn't say that on TV.
No, he said they'll make mincemeat of Celtic, and he hopes Feyenoord win. And Ajax players saying he hopes Feyenoord.
Yeah, they're huge rivals. That's like Celtic Rangers in Holland.
You better believe it. And just shows you how much his distaste is. I met him in the bowling one time. I should have picked the bottom. Fucking give him another injury, which I never, because he's got twice my height and I can't. But what a dumpling he was. That's the thing. Barkas said some things I know, and I don't mind players being bitter about their experience in Scotland, but Celtic give you the opportunity to come in. They give you the brilliant training facilities. They give you a world class stadium. There's certainly good coaches at the club to a certain degree. If you don't make it at Celtic, 9 times out of 10 it's because of your ability, Phil. You know what I mean? There's no pretend that it's because you guys don't play your system, whatever. Before you sign for a club, you should be asking your scout, your agent, is this the team for me? Am I going to fit into this system? Is this the type of football I'm going to enjoy playing? If you sign for a team and don't do your homework, don't blame the team, Phil. And I read these comments and how I'm glad. I hope you've seen the Celtics winning goal. I hope we had a good view of it, because a Feyenoord player, an Ajax player wanting Feyenoord to beat his old club, that's just Kenny Miller stuff for me. So it is.
Yeah, that is really out there. See, that is equivalent to Celtic Rangers in Holland. They properly hate each other. Feyenoord and Ajax, like,
folk get stabbed and everything there in the matches. It's not like here when they close off roads. I mean, there'll be 50 of them jump into a pub and start glazing folk and everything. They don't. It's a different level of crazy. Here the crazy is Monday to Friday, but it's who you work with, who your pals are. Just a warped mindset in this country. We see it there. They go tonto for each other. They'll fling a scooter off a tap tier and hit you with it.
Done it again.
They'll not be a fuck. You know what I mean?
They put the thumb up there because your thumb was kind of at this angle and it came up. There it is. Hey, there you go. That's a reminder, folks, to hit that like button. There you go. Balloons. Why not?
I'm just going to Google that and find out what I can do, because I need to.
Well, that's what threw me off. But we'll finish on this because we've only got about 5 minutes left or so, because you mentioned the winning goal. And this is obviously a big topic of discussion recently. And again, go back to some of the words Brendan Rodgers has said and he's used in press conferences, and those, I don't want to say subtle messages, it's more blunt force trauma to the face type of messages about, you know, the players that have came in, and Lagerbielke and obviously Nawrocki were included in that. But last night, Lagerbielke comes on and obviously ends up scoring the winning goal. And I've seen some sort of stat as well that every game Lagerbielke's played somehow domestically anyway, we've not conceded a goal. So yeah, apparently that's the case. Domestically, because obviously he played in Feyenoord and Rotterdam in the first leg and got himself sent off, and we definitely conceded goals that night. But domestically, apparently he's not conceded a goal. Him and Scales together, they went through a run of about 5 clean sheets in the bounce before he basically got exiled from the team. But yeah, obviously now coming at this weekend playing Hearts, Carter Vickers is expected to be fit. Scales has obviously, again, you know, as for as with Scales, I still think he's doing okay. He's passable. I don't think he's answered long term, but he's doing okay. But Lagerbielke and Nawrocki, what does Lagerbielke now come into the plans? Does Nat Phillips still get another reprieve? What the hell happens?
This is what happens when he scores a goal last night. It starts to warp your mind. Plus, I didn't realise these stats. That's a really interesting stat. I think one of the biggest conundrums that Rodgers has got is his centre-back pairing, because he doesn't know who his best pairing yet.
Yeah.
And if you're sitting December, the 20th or whatever it's going to be when the match is played, and you don't know who your centre-back pairing is, then my God, Mark the Twitch team, oh my God. Pam, I didn't know what that was until I found it. I so used to do it. No. Hi gang, I couldn't deal with that.
Mate.
Forgot what I was going on. But listen, what I will say is, if the Rocky's fit and he's £4.5 million and he's fit and he's even making matchday squads in the SPFL, you can short him, you sell him. You need fucking about. If he's not good enough, put him on loan to somebody that's going to buy him with a clause, because he can't be that bad. Phil, I only saw him twice and I thought the guy looked decent.
I thought so. I remember up at Pataudry played particularly well. There was a decent showing up at Pataudry, second game of the season. Looked all right.
Probably lost a goal, but I would probably say, if I memories serve me right, I think that was Hart. If I remember
that was Carter Vickers had pulled up a wee bit. Remember, Carter Vickers came off at half time. He kind of got caught flat-footed and couldn't catch the ball. He got to the byline and they stuck it in. But Nawrocki was behind the player, so people were homing in on him. But there was a few moments early in the game where I thought he put in some really good last-ditch challenges. He wasn't afraid to kind of wrap his legs around, to get the ball and stuff like that.
Didn't he? He looked old-fashioned.
He did, yeah.
And we need that. I think Carter Vickers is old-fashioned. But do you know what? I seen that we were playing the other day there, when I think it was, who was it was going forward? Phillips was running forward in the first half, like Van Dijk, but they weren't challenging him. Remember, he used to get Christopher Ayer, nobody would tackle him, and they would just let him run with the ball because they knew eventually he'd put the ball at the park. You remember that? They would just they'd back half him, they'd back half him. He reminded me of that. We're needing somebody that can do that, but it's got the ability to just dig that ball to the winger or play that cushion pass. See if you can do that. We have got somebody that can create a lot of problems in Scotland. So Carter Vickers has been doing that. He has been going forward a bit more. I thought he was a bit more passive. I thought he was getting about Starfield quite a lot to do that kind of work. I think he took a bit of that on himself. I don't think he's hit the heights yet this season. I feel like I think he's full Cameron Carter Vickers yet, but he will come back to that level. I think the guy's class. I think if we had 11 players at that level, I think we would be in the last 16 in Europe early day. But we've just no got that level for the team. Cameron Carter Vickers, we need to find somebody. I think the question was somebody to partner him.
Aye.
Go see the Rocket. You go, but this is it, Phil. I'm fed up seeing zigzag and Tom and Jerry. I want a system, and I want to stick to it. You can't get consistent results with players being chopped and changes. I seen that we've not won 3 matches in a row a season. Is it surprising when we've not played 3 games in a row with the same team?
That's true. You keep chopping and changing it. Yep.
It's the desperation. It's like we've been through the desperation stuff, fligging in centre backs and left backs all over the place, right backs all over the place. Then we're calling out players out in post match pressers. It's like the desperation buttons are getting pressed quite often. When Rodgers before was calm, composed, trust the process, sort of stuff.
Yep.
Now it just feels a wee bit more. I mean, I'm still as angry about this season as what I was on Sunday. I didn't enjoy the match last night. I didn't watch it, so I've not got this new sense of optimism that we get after a win. So I'm still on the bandwagon where I'm fucking livid about Sunday, and we've got a lot to prove this season, Phil.
Yeah.
I certainly do think that. Thank God the Rangers, Michael Beale was in charge for as long as he did, and because we could be looking at a different type of season just now. Let's be honest, Phil. If it wasn't for that, but we still went to Pataudry, Tynecastle, Ibrox, Motherwell, Livingston, won the lot of them, mate. Never discount how important they wins were, but we let ourselves down with home draws against St Johnstone and Motherwell. Rodgers kind of came out pre-match on Sunday and say we're in a different place now for what we were when we could beat Africa Marnock. Then put in a worse performance. The two don't marry up, mate. You got to. If that's big words. I thought that the second half performance. I mentioned it the other day. with 10 minutes injury time in that match, 8 minutes injury time in the Motherwell game the week before it. That was 18 minutes, right?
Mm.
And we didn't have one shot on target in 18 minutes. And Celtic teams should be pummeling to get that winner or get that draw at that stage. And it was just like they rolled over and accepted defeat. And you should never accept that. Mattarelli scored a 95th minute winner against Motherwell. I want to see that. Know that outcome. You don't want to see that all the time, although I love to see it. But I want to see that level of determination. No Greg Taylor giving away free kicks and throw-ins 5 yards for his own goal down at the left-hand side against Kilmarnock for the last 3 or 4 minutes of injury time. I want to see us working, putting pressure on that team, you know what I mean? But we didn't see it. Motherwell was the exact same. You could have left that game at half-time. I think it was just a pathetic performance for the club and every team. And this is it. If this is going to be the new wave of optimism, which we thought we had after we beat Rangers, where we went into a wee break after that, and it was all hyped up again. But it just seems to fall down in the arse again. It's like the Celtic fans are just waiting for that next fantastic moment to happen, and and when it does happen, and you go, right, okay, it's not happening for us again. You know what I mean? And you're not going to get a consistent run of results until you settle with a team, Phil. See if Scales is your man, keep him in there until he does something wrong or he becomes unacceptable.
Yeah.
But don't put sometimes you can't be sampling players in December, Phil. That's past the sampling stage.
Yes.
That should be your injuries should be getting replenished with players should be getting replenished with your squad players at this time of year. If you've got a fully fit team, you shouldn't be knowing what team you've got out there. And the same breath when it comes to the window. January the 1st, we should know exactly what players we want in and exactly what players. I don't want to see any more comments that I see on Tuesday for Rodgers saying, well, look within the squad first, because if there was an answer within the squad already, they would be there.
Yeah, exactly.
Boyd frame. If he was in the picture,
yes.
he was in the picture a long time ago, Phil. He would have been on the park in struggling games. I mean, he was in the squad yesterday because he was part of the quota. You know what I mean? And he's come on, and by all accounts, he's done himself well. But so there's no answer within the B team is shit. The first 11 at Celtic is questionable. Anything beyond that, you're starting to talk about Turnbull and Forrest and Welsh. Don't want to see that, Phil. Don't want to see that. So the players that we need strengthening on need strengthening in January. There's no performance by any player in their squad that can alter that. There's no man of matches for Scales or man of matches for Mickey Johnson or last minute winners for all. They should alter our direction in January. We should have a firm path in January we're going to go doing. No matter who's picked for Japan and Korea and all the rest of it, no matter who's away, the players that we need in, the departments, left back, I think right back needs addressed eventually. I also feel like the number 6 needs addressed. I think the 2 wingers need addressed. That's probably a long term, but no matter any results or man of matches or even the last minute winner against Rangers, none of that should alter Celtic's path in January. And if it does, Phil, that tells you they've not got a plan, because you don't change your plan on a whim.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You've got a club at Celtic, you don't surely.
No, definitely. It's now or never. So we've got the next run of games. We've got Hearts, Livingston, Dundee, Rangers, St Mirren. So the next 5 games up until the January break. And 15 points is a must at this stage because the way the league's panning out. And then in January we've got a 3-week break. But we need to have a plan in place to get that all sorted. But speaking of that run of games, I will be on tomorrow night for the Friday Feeling on the bus with my, I'd imagine Liam will be on with me, my usual Friday co-op. David Logue might make an appearance. He did give us 5 minutes last week, but he did have to run off. Something did come up that he told me about, so it's further. So hopefully David can join us.
Was that a water leak in the West Wing? Was it?
No, it wasn't that. But I'll be on tomorrow night anyway, previewing the Hearts game on Saturday 3:00 kickoff. So
it's a strange one. Remember the days, Phil?
I know. Though this season, I've pointed this out a few times, especially on the Friday Feeling, compared to last season where we get to play a lot ahead of them. And this will be one of those weekends again, but we will play ahead of them. They don't play until Sunday.
So it's been a while, Phil. With a lot We've had like 6 penalties this season. We've had games before them. We've had a lot of things, and we still not made it count. I just on my brother's birthday. He's 21, so happy birthday, Ryan. Adam, sorry.
Ryan.
We're going to Top Golf. Got to go there tomorrow night. So
okay.
Nice. I need to catch up on the Friday show. You just reminded me there. I've never been before, but I got there tomorrow. Sample it. I heard it's pretty good. It's not far from Celtic Park and all, so I can go up after it and maybe drunk and shout abuse at the main stand if anybody's in at that time.
We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'll be on Friday tomorrow night, guys. So be sure to tune in if you got anything better to do on your Friday night. You can spend it with me and the boys tomorrow night on the Boise bus.
Come to me and buy me a drink. Just come to Top Golf.
Go with Mark if you want. Go with the judge, guy. Treat me to a wee drink.
Hot doubles, packs of peanuts, anything. I take anything.
And also all night, Desmond Dermot has been in the chat all night up to us. So says thank you, Philip. And Philip and Marcus are Sunday names. Please join us meeting. I've recorded the minutes episode. Pedro, top. Yes, there you go. Top Golf is great, Marcus. There you go. A recommendation. But yeah, he's been asking all night what positions need improved and who should be recommending to Brendan. So hopefully, Desmond Dermot, you've taken it on board and you pass that on to Brendan and Pedro. Hopefully, because we want to see some progress.
I'm asking Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, anybody, just get me some first 11 players. That's all I want. That's all I want. I want that and Jennifer Lopez underneath my tree. They'll do me, man. Just have her sticking their ass out underneath my tree. I'll be happy. I'll go to bed happy Christmas night.
I bet you will. Yes.
I'm gonna send a line out first. I want to.
Well, yeah, that'd be a bit awkward.
I would still go for it. Don't think I wouldn't.
Fair dues, mate. Fair dues, Dave. But yeah, folks, we'll head off now because that's an hour and 7 minutes. So yeah, we'll be on tomorrow night. So we'll catch you then. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night, whatever you get up to. And catch you then, folks. See yous.